Welcome, beautiful light beings, to Crystalline Ascension's Divine Light Illuminators. I'm Alicia Lucas Hall, and I'll be co-facilitating the sharings with Eva Lucas. Eva and I are co-creatrixes of Crystalline Ascension and known as Ascension Guides to assist, support, and empower souls and starseeds coming home to their heart and to embody their true divine essence, ascension journey, and the evolution of unity consciousness, and to weave the rainbow dream of heaven on earth. We are here to connect you with fellow star brothers and sisters who are sharing their divine light and essence. And we'll be hearing about who they are, their mission, purpose, and vision, and what their divine offerings to you and all of humanity. So today we welcome the vibrant crystal soul, Sian Jewell, a divine weaver of crystal jewelry, a Reiki Master, Reflexologist, and emotional freedom practitioner who has heard the inner guiding voice of diamond light, crystalline purity clearly within, that had also shared to light her vessel up. So she has been doing this since, while cosmically flowing along her soul journey. This lovely Rose Priestess holds the essence and the space of a cosmic mother. She is a mom to 3 grown children and 2 stepchildren, a nanny to 6, and a foster mom to many, and 4 children who are with her at the present. Sian, we are so excited to share your many gifts and talents within our Crystalline Global community, as well as getting to know you, more about you. So Eva and I are connected to Sian through energy services. Sian received a crystalline Akashic emanation through us, and then she gifted us with some beautiful duo bespoke crystal rings, which were created with love, uniqueness, and hold so many beautiful vibrations and sparkle within the light. So I myself was gifted with an aquamarine shimmer and sapphire shimmer, while Eva was gifted with emerald and peridot shimmer. So we're both wearing them. We'll bring it in, zoom in.
All right.
We love them.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. And she also created a gorgeous trio Andara crystal necklace and matching bracelet for one of my star seeds. And again, it was clearly bespoke to her, in which she absolutely loves. So Sian's soul sparkles within this crystalline light. And again, we are super excited to share her light. So welcome, Sian. We are honored to have you here with us today.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm honored to be here, and what a beautiful introduction. That was beautiful. Thank you. And yeah, receiving from yourself and Eva, you know, when I received the Akashic package that you gave, it was like reading and connecting and sort of bubbles of light, you know, as I was reading and feeling the vibrations. It was beautiful. So yeah, I would tell anybody, you know, to receive one. It was,
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
yeah.
So welcome, Sian. Before we go further into your offerings, we would love to get to know you on a deeper level. Would you like to share a bit about yourself?
Yeah. Oh gosh, where do you start? Sort of, I think I'd probably start at when events happened within my life that sort of started the event of awakening for me and the spiritual journey that sort of brought me where I am today. So sort of looking back and taking little snippets, you know, may be helpful to sort of get a gauge of, you know, the length of time and how it's sort of evolved over a period of time. So I think, like everybody, you know, there's certain events in your life, you know, whether it be a death in the family or a loved one, or, you know, divorce, or for me particularly, it was going through a separation and a divorce, and I was diagnosed with cancer at the age of 35, and then again at the age of 55. And so that was the catalyst for me to start my inner journey of healing. And with that, you know, very quickly on the path, it was that, you know, you are to clear and keep clearing, you know, that vessel, and that, you know, like soul whispers, what I know were soul whispers now, but maybe not at the time, was, you know, about the vessel is, you know, to hold diamond light, it's to be crystal clear, It's, you know, all about purity. It's all about radiating that light. But to get to that stage, you know, there's so much work to do. And you know, venturing down that sort of path, you know, there were things like, you know, looking at triggers, looking at, you know, programs that I had within myself, you know, the conditioning of, you know, just being a child and growing up, you know, archetypes, you know, the savior archetype, the, you know, the martyr, all those things, and sort of layer upon layer, you know, that you'd no sooner sort of released some things, and then, you know, a light was shone, or, you know, you'd been triggered by something, maybe outside or somebody, and all of a sudden, you know, you were asking yourself, you know, why am I triggered by this? It's not the outside. It's, you know, somebody giving me the opportunity to look again deeper within myself. So I think, you know, that was going on for over, you know, many years. But I think, as we know, years don't really count, because they're sort of nanoseconds. You know, they just sort of fly by when you look back at, you know, what you've been through. And within the journey, I was sort of guided to explore lots of healing modalities, meditation, reflexology, Reiki, you know, all the things that sort of, I felt that they were feeding my soul, and, you know, feeding my heart, you know, nurturing, nourishing. And I really, really felt the benefits. And through that, you know, it helped so much that, you know, I went on, you know, to train myself in these healing modalities. And as we all know, once you're on the path, once you're on the journey and you're clearing, you know, you become more sensitive to frequencies and vibrations, and you're called, you know, crystals, flowers, you know, anything really that makes your heart sing, and, you know, you just feel so like, oh, you know, that is amazing, that's beautiful. So I think, you know, that's been my journey really over, you know, a period of time. And, you know, I celebrate it, you know, I feel so happy. And, you know, like sometimes at the beginning, you know, you could read maybe a book and people would say, you know, I'm so glad that, you know, this happened to me, or this happened to me. And you sort of think, what? How can you be so glad? But once you've released all the things, all the emotions that come with events in life, it is such a huge opportunity for growth. And you know, it can be very sacred, very soothing, very expansive, and yeah, and to celebrate, you know, being present. So that's a little bit about me.
That is beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. What a beautiful inspiration you are to the world. And as I'm watching you, all I see is beautiful crystal flowers behind you, like absolutely radiating around you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you for sharing.
And I love how you call them soul whispers. That's such a beautiful interpretation of what it actually feels like. But I really like that wording. So thanks for sharing that. It gave it a new perspective of how you can share what that. I can't find the words, but I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think it's sometimes you sort of say, don't you, I'm guided to do this, or I feel to
Yes.
do this. And then I think maybe it's not, obviously you get help, you know, from, you know, angelic and lots of different things, but ultimately, as you deepen your connection with your soul, it's you guiding you.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Very
and you
true.
say, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
So Cheyenne, your light-coated bespoke crystal and Endora jewelry of light are absolutely divine. Can you tell us how you started light weaving? And I love the word light weaving because I think we're all becoming light weavers in our lives. So how you started light weaving with crystal jewelry and the process in a bespoke creation.
Well, again, with doing sort of exploring and experimenting with all the sort of healing modalities and, you know, hearing the call from the crystals, I think that really sort of fueled my love of crystals and daras. And for me, it was never about, you know, reading books about, you know, what a particular crystal does, or, you know what it holds, because it actually feels that, and I don't mean this to, you know, sort of negate what anybody else has done or is doing, but for me personally, it was about connecting to the crystal and the new. It's about, you know, the new frequencies, the new light, the new packages that are coming through, and it's not about you know, the old and what we read about, you know, a particular crystal that does this, because these can be imbibed or hold energies for different people, for different things, you know, for activating, for clearing, for holding, for loving, for nurturing. So they can be different on all levels. So I think it was, you know, I was really drawn to that. And through that, you know, I used to have crystals in my pockets, you know, down my bra, and you know, I'd lose lots and lots, and I sort of thought, you know, how can I, you know, keep crystals close, the ones that I want to have near me. And I think that's how the wire wrapping evolved. And then once I started wire wrapping and just sitting, you know, and creating a creative space, it was just, it was beautiful. You know, it was just being in that space of stillness. There was nothing, there was no thoughts, you know, there was just, I could feel, you know, my heart expanding. And with that, you know, just a flow and, you know, creativity and designs, and, you know, just the crystals were just sort of witnessing the crystals just, you know, coming to life, and wrapping them and feeling their beauty. It was just, it was addictive, you know. And then, you know, I used to go to sleep and then wake up and think, you know, ping, I've got a little image that's flowing of something else, you know, that I want to create, and just to look at it, and it was, you know, it was just a thing of beauty that sort of came to life by itself. And so I think that's, yeah, that's how it started and how it's evolved, and it just feels more exciting, you know, all the time. And the weaving, that's exactly how it feels, is, you know, it's almost that my humanness sort of steps aside, and, you know, it's like it's a bit like a, you know, a pillar of light, and, you know, you just sit and just flow with it, and hours go past and it doesn't seem like hours, because you come out of it and you go, oh blimey, you know, that was 4 or 5 hours, and it's just, you know, it's just, it's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's just stepping into allowance, you know, with as you said, it's like witnessing the crystal and just stepping into the allowance to allow you to become one with the crystal and not
Yeah.
bring in everybody else's perception, right? And just
Yeah.
allowing you to love it and become it as it was meant for you.
Yeah.
That is so beautiful. Yeah.
And I think that's where, being in that space, you know, in the pillar of light, I soon realized that, you know, when I was doing crystals as gifts or for people, is that, you know, seeing the crystals and the pieces come to light, that if I were to then consciously think of the individual that I was, wire wrapping or, weaving bracelets or, different things that I was doing, that, this quite quickly, this piece did become imbibed, with, as I've grown to sort of realize, that it is about the soul codes, the soul light, the vibrations of an individual, that comes through to imbibe each piece. And it feels to me a very sacred, a very personal process, and it's not something that I've ever been led or feel that they're to be churned out, or mass production or things like this. These are very precise. People will come if they hear their call, or sometimes I can sort of, a name comes and I realize I'm to contact them, to give them, or and it's something that's coming. And some people find it hard to receive, because I think, like all of us, if you are sort of in service, and you're in service to others, sometimes it's quite difficult, and that's a very sacred thing, to be able to receive without giving back. And I think that comes through with it as well. When I'm sort of, I can feel this, you've got to contact such and such a person, and they might not accept, because it's hard to accept without wanting to give something back. So that has been a learning process as well, that it's very, it's sacred, it's beautiful, it's personal, and I feel very humble to be in that, in that space.
That's beautiful. Your descriptions of how you connect and how you create for others, it just sounds very magical, the way you describe each and every word. You truly are speaking from your heart, and it definitely sparkles with so much light. You're such a beautiful soul. Yeah.
Yes. Oh. So we're going to move on, and we'd like to know more about your sessions called Tapping into Transparency. This sounds very interesting, as Leisha and I are both, we've taken EFT, our first and second levels, so I love to use it probably almost every day. So I would love to hear more about the way that you use the tapping.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, again, I did the level 1 and the level 2, and became a practitioner. Again, I use the tool for myself over years, and like you, I use it most days. It is amazing. And I think as time went on, because I benefited so much from it, it's a tool. It's not something that we do for somebody else. It's a tool that we can teach people to use. It's simple. It's I think it came about sort of in the 1980s. It was from a psychiatrist, I think Dr. Callahan, who used it. He called it thought field therapy, and it was a meridian energy therapy, much like sort of acupuncture, kinesiology, and then the person that sort of I learnt from was somebody called Gary Craig, who simplified the thought field therapy into a much easier way, which was to help tease out emotional blockages, find where the core issues are within yourself, what you hold on to, and tap into these areas, these points within the body. And it can release very quickly it can bring balance, it can bring a comfort, it can, reduce discomfort. The things that I love about it is that you can play with it. Some people, I have done one-to-one sessions with people, and some people find it really difficult because it's all about honesty. It's, we all hide about behind, don't we? And we say, we can, how are you feeling? And you say these sort of scripted things, and you sort of never get under that layer of, what it is. But to release that, sometimes, you might think, oh, that I don't really like feeling like that, or I don't thinking that way. So I certainly don't want to tell somebody this is how I really feel. So I think with tapping, the thing that I love is that you don't have to put people on the spot. You don't have to make them feel uncomfortable. You can chase the pain. You can chase the discomfort. A lot of people that I've worked with hold that, if it's with trauma or emotional issues, and within the solar plexus area, it feels like, grief, there's a hole in that solar plexus, and no matter what they do, it doesn't go. It eats away at their energy, and tapping very quickly can, find out maybe in a way of intensity, what's the intensity of that discomfort from 1 to 10. It's an 8. Close your eyes, think about it. So they're not actually saying, what that emotional thing is, but very quickly we can tap into the intensity and bring that down. And by bringing that intensity level down, you can look, you can feel, and gauge, let's go back in, what's the intensity now? Close your eyes. Some people say it's a 6. Right, okay, let's tap again. We're moving it. And the same thing can happen with pain, with emotional baggage. You find people, shoulder pain, or at the back of my neck. And so, you can go in with the tapping and say, okay, right, let's go. Where is the pain? It's at the back of the neck. And so we're tapping, and as you tap to release, the individual can say, it's moving down to my hip, it's moving down to my knee. And so you're tapping down, using words of clearing, of releasing, of letting go, of loving, of, deserving. And, you see that sort of pain, discomfort moving out through the body. People can use colors. I've got it's a gray color. I can't put a word to it, but it's gray, it's black, it's purple. And you see such instant results that that people can take away and do it themselves. And I think that's the amazing thing about it, is that you can remove layers and layers and layers, and nobody needs to see that nakedness, that vulnerability. It can just flow and be released.
Yeah. Now,
So sorry.
No, go ahead.
So the tapping, and I don't think it's any coincidence that I'm talking about tapping on this day, with you both, because I didn't realize that you'd done it as well, and that I had done a couple of Zoom sessions that I'd never done before, tapping over Zoom. Does it work? I don't know. And so it was sort of an exploration, and it went really well. And I went to bed one night, and I woke up in the morning, in the middle of the night. I sort of sat bolt upright, and it said tapping into transparency. That's what you're going to call it, because we are all beautiful, light infused, loving beings of light, but it's just that we have got so many layers and layers and layers and layers that, you know, we can't sometimes reveal that beautiful light that is still shining so bright. And so it was sort of, you know, we're not bringing something to you. This is you. This is tapping back into who you are. So I think it was that that came, and so I thought, okay, maybe it is time to go with it and put it out
I think
there.
that title, that's a really great name for what actually tapping does. So
Yeah.
I like the title. The only question I was going to ask you, do you only do work in person? But you had mentioned that you did do the Zoom. So everything went really well, that you do now offer online services as well?
Well, I haven't, because it's sort of been evolving. It isn't up and running as yet. I feel that I'm meant to do that, and I think, you know, this has obviously been a major platform to give my butt a big kick to say you get it out there. So I think that's, you know, a huge confirmation to say, you know, you got to do it.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
humanity's calling you.
Clients are ready, they're waiting.
Yes, and we do have so many layers, so it is a great way. The way you described it, again, was very beautiful, of how tapping actually works on a deep level without having to go too far into it, like you had said. So it's really
And quickly, you know.
And I think with fun as well.
Yeah.
You know, and as well as tapping things out, you can tap things in, you know, and accelerate that process. You know, I am love. I am light. You know, I radiate, you know, this beautiful light, and, you know, I connect with others with beautiful light, and we beam out, and, you know, it's just instant.
It's beautiful. Very good for shifting quickly, like you said. Yeah. Beautiful. We also see that you create sacred crystal grids for individuals or the collective as well. Would you like to share more about this?
Yeah, again, it just comes, doesn't it? And you don't realize it, and you get little confirmations of, you know, oh, yeah, and that, oh, yeah. And I think with the crystals, I think it sort of naturally progresses into, you want to place the crystals, and then, you know, you start beginning to place the crystals in different formations, and sometimes you don't know why, and sometimes, you know, you get this big sort of push to, you know, put this here, and it doesn't necessarily have to be crystals. You know, it could be flowers, it could be pebbles, it could be just anything. And yeah, I think I about 6 years ago, we bought this plot of land, and I kept visualizing that, you know, before we built the house, that I was to create a crystal grid, and the crystal grid was to be placed under the plot of the land, and it was to cover the whole area. And this was to it was to activate. I didn't know, you know, I was just okay, but it was to activate a diamond portal. This crystal grid, you know, I connected to Uluru, Sedona, Arkansas, Glastonbury, the Giza Pyramid. You know, I sort of visualized, you know, a network of connection, that it would connect with all that, and that once the house was built, this well, I envisaged it being, it was like a receiver and a transmitter of diamond light, and it was to hold, you know, pure frequencies, and it was to radiate out. And so, you know, that's what I did. You know, I placed the grid. One of my sons, because he was digging all the sort of groundwork, and I remember messaging him and saying, it's today, it's got to be today, it's 10 o'clock. And he said, oh, I'll come and help you. So I said, okay, you can hold each crystal and I'll pop it in. And so that's what we did. And it was a really beautiful ceremony. And then, the house got built. It was activated. It's activated within the center of the house. And I think I envisaged again, because we have lots of children coming in, that this was going to hold, it was going to help, it was going to heal. It was a sacred space for them to feel safe, to feel safe, and to begin to open their hearts again. So and the confirmations that I get are, because we obviously have lots of meetings with social workers, and it's so funny because when we're all sitting around having the meeting, it sort of only takes about 5 or 10 minutes, and they all start to yawn.
Too much energy for them.
And you get that confirmation, you think, oh, thank you, it's there, and they're all sort of trying to hide their yawn, and I never say anything, but and I just think, oh, that's beautiful. So I think that was part of doing the crystal grids. And then I was invited by a beautiful goddess, and her name is Ante, and she's from like a caste, which is all about accelerated spiritual journey. And she asked if I'd like to do a collaboration with some of the grids that I'd done, that I had been sort of, I knew where to put the pieces, but I couldn't really say, what they were doing, what they were holding. And she did, she sort of channeled into those, and she said the collaboration was, if I could send her the pictures, then she could, she could tune in and channel. And, I mean, that was an amazing opportunity, and, a huge sort of confidence boost that said, these are living light. These are, so powerful, and, they're portals, portals of allowing the frequencies to come through. And so then that went on to okay, so I've got the creative space, I'm doing the bespoke jewelry, connecting to the individual, but what about before I start is that I connect with the person and bring through the individual sacred grid, the soul grid, the portal, to assist my creative space for that individual person. And that's how it's all sort of weaved and come together. So each piece I do, I create a sacred grid, and I connect with the person, sending images so that they can connect to their the grid that's come forward. And it's sort of a flow between the jewelry, the grid, the person, and me. And then the weaving begins, however long that may be, and then the grid is closed and the piece is completed and then sent off. So it's and I think that's where the whole sacred personal part of that process is.
Okay, so it's not like you're tuning into their specific frequency as well, and the crystals are assisting you with this into their frequency and energetic signatures in a way that you can serve them for their highest good by creating something that is more aligned with their frequency.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right then.
Wow.
So, yeah. And so it's not a separate offer. You don't just do crystal grids, or do you?
Oh, yep,
Oh,
yep.
you
I can
can.
do.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think it's as it's sort of gone on. It was an individual thing at the time. A sacred grid. But then I realised I can sort of bring the two
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
So it's very, it's very interchangeable.
Okay.
It's
Beautiful.
very, yeah. Go with the flow.
Brilliant. Yeah, it is.
Well,
Yeah.
I love the house story. That's a really amazing. It's an amazing story to share with others about creating the crystal grid, and what a sacred opportunity you had to actually place that in the land before your house was built.
Oh, it was, yeah.
So yes, yeah. All right. I know you've shared a lot about what you do, but a lot of times we like to ask to go into further of what you feel a little bit more about your soul mission, purpose, and vision is with the ascension of humanity and of Mother Gaia as well.
Oh, I think it is ultimately it is about living, through your heart space, connecting to that heart space, connecting, deep within Gaia, so that Gaia's heartbeat becomes your heartbeat, and your heartbeat becomes Gaia's heartbeat. And you can feeling the love, that there is only love, and that once you're in that space, you can't help but expand, connecting, to, and your love of everything around, of nature, of the universe, of humanity, that we are all the same. And love for humanity is you sort of merge into a oneness. And I think, yeah, it's just being open, it's keeping your heart open, it's being very present, it's being a constant observer, a conscious observer of yourself, within your reality, how you present yourself, how you respond to people, how you perceive people, and keeping it light, keeping in your pillar, acceptance, joy. It's emanating, that out, so that your inner becomes your outer, and your outer becomes your inner. And it has a knock-on effect, from me to you, from you to me, and it just goes on and on and on and on. And I think that is the future. Everybody's waking up, no matter where you are in your journey. If you're just beginning, if you're out there, and it's the sparks are flying, and it's all about love, and it's all about acceptance, it's all about generosity, and it's all about sharing, and it's all about giving and receiving, from the heart, with love.
Yes.
And it's the most beautiful, it's the most beautiful space to be in.
Totally agree, for sure. Beautiful words, wise words. So Sian, it was such an honor to spend time with you. So we want to thank you in your sacred time to connect with us, share with us, and sharing your beautiful divine light with us. So thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. So we will be leaving all of Sian's details, her websites, her email in the description of those of you who are desiring to connect with her further. And we're welcoming all conscious souls and starseeds who are embodying their divine essence and ascension journey to gather with us in our Crystalline Ascension Global Community, which is a private network. So you can find us at crystallineascension.mn.co. Or if you are a Divine Light Illuminator, we welcome you to email us at info@crystallineascension.com to book a light sharing chat with Eva and I to share your divine light and essence with humanity. So until then,
Thank
bye
you.
now.
Thank you.